Nation exclusive at the site of that toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. Now, this is a story that NewsNation has been covering extensively since the very beginning. And now, a whistleblower from the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, is risking their job for speaking out on what they call failures by the agency immediately after that disaster. That whistleblower detailing several issues, including orders to shut off chemical sensors over creeks. NewsNation investigative correspondent Rich McHugh joining us live from East Palestine now. And Rich, these are some bombshell allegations.
We've been covering this since the derailment and the toxic burn here. And I have to say, this is the most consequential reporting on this topic that we're putting out. This whistleblower, Robert Krotul, spent like 4 decades with former Department of Defense and then the EPA. He was essentially behind creating what's called the Aspect. This is the plane that they send up to detect chemicals in chemical disasters. Normal protocol, he says, is that the plane is sent up within an hour or hours. He says that is not what happened here, and it's nothing like he's seen in his career. Take a look.
In East Palestine, we had a big delay. We noticed there was a big delay in getting the aircraft up to Pittsburgh.
How big of a delay?
5 days.
5 days?
5 days.
So why do you think that is?
I don't know. I'm still asking myself that question, why you would deploy this aircraft 5 days late.
Now, that plane, Krotul says, should have been there immediately, flying and gathering data for days. They should have been collecting data while the toxic plume was in the sky. He says even more troubling, he says they turned off the chemical sensors over the creeks in East Palestine as it was flying, Natasha.
You know, and Rich, we're also learning that there were attempts by the EPA to silence this whistleblower. What can you tell us about that?
So he raised questions internally, and he tried to get answers, and was met with resistance at every level. He even filed a FOIA, Freedom of Information request, after a while to try and learn the mission of this whole project. He was told if you don't rescind that FOIA request, you're going to be fired from your job.
The EPA didn't gather the chemical information that it could have gathered to inform first responders, the community, and our government officials as to what to do with evacuations, protecting the public, and the vent and burn. They could have done this and they chose not to. The question is why.
That was Leslie Pacey. She's an investigator with the Government Accountability Project. They are providing legal protection for Robert Krotul. He has since resigned from his position. He's now a former contractor for the EPA. EPA has come out and said they did not fly because of weather. And that's something I asked him about in the interview. He said weather really wasn't an issue. They just would have had to fly lower. Instead of 2,800 feet, they could have flown at 2,000 feet.